work in the United States. It is known for being one of the hardest places in the world to get a job at. We do have 55,000 people. And that is what allows them to have those types of amenities like the bikes, the pools, the free food, a bus to work, things like that. But being that it is difficult to get a job there doesn't mean that you in this room cannot get a job there. It doesn't matter where you're from, doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter what your background is. Google looks for certain things in individuals. And it doesn't matter, especially what some of us might think of getting a job at an organization like that, of going to the #1 school in the world. That's not how they think. So a little bit of my background. So after I graduated high school, I went to college on the East Coast in Baltimore, Maryland, at a place called Johns Hopkins University. For those on the football team and other sports here, I played varsity athletics in college and was a national champion water polo player. Has anyone ever seen water polo played before? I don't think it's very big down here, but it's really just a California sport with a little bit on the East Coast. But I spent a lot of time playing sports, but also maintaining a high grade point average. And I'll talk about that a little bit, what that looks like. But that's something that's very important. After I graduated college, I was a teacher, not too far from you guys actually, in just a little bit north in southern Arkansas. So I taught students there who come from areas that look just like this, beautiful trees everywhere, really loved it. And then I left being a teacher and moved to California, and I worked for a small startup. So startup is a company that is not something like Google, where there was only 15 of us. It was only 5 months old when it started. So someone came up with an idea, and they went and got their company registered to be a legal company in the United States, and they try and build it. So Google started with 2 people, Larry and Sergey. They're the ones that invented Google search. And so that went from 2 people. It moved to 6 people above a garage, a little bit further away from where our campus is now, and now has over 60 offices in 90 different countries. So we're all over the place. Or excuse me, 90 and 60. Actually, correct me on my math. You guys are still in school. So after the startup, which I was at for 2 years, I then really wanted to work for Google, and I wanted to work in education again. So, excuse me, I got the role at Google. And this is really what they look for. And there's a lot of information online actually about this that the head of our HR, human resources, who's in charge of hiring, talks about. Because Google used to be known for having the most intense and difficult and long job interviews of any company they could think of. There's actually books you can buy on Amazon.com called How to Get a Job at Google. And they ask these extremely tough questions, whether it's engineering focused, math focused, science focused. They ask lots of difficult questions. But what they found is those long interviews took too much time. They weren't really that efficient. They found that if you only look at someone's grade point average, which is important, but it's not the most important thing. So what they really look at when hiring, and this is something that you guys I think can bring with you to college especially, whatever job you may or may not have after that, if you want to work at Google, these are the things they look for. First is teamwork. That is huge. Huge, huge, huge. That helped me, being that I was a college athlete, but being able to work well with others is extremely important, and collaborate and communicate with other individuals. Because there is no job that I can think of where you are the only person that you need to report to, you're the only person you need to work with. Every job, no matter Google or not, you will need to work with the people sitting next to you, and you need to work well with them. And if you can't do that, if you're someone that always wants to say no and always is demanding certain things, that's not going to work for a lot of companies, especially for Google. So that's something that's very important. GPA, going to college. Is anyone already in college? Is any senior in here ready to go? Got a couple of us? Okay, that's great. You guys are all going to get there in a couple months. Your GPA in college is important. Google cares about that. Before it used to be essentially 4.0 or nothing. Google backed off a little bit. It's a little unrealistic. However, maintaining a high GPA in college is very important. The only thing it can do is broaden your world when you graduate college.